Hello, this is a video for the 1199 SEIU Retiree Center students in the knitting and crochet class. Together we have been working on the Friday Harbor cropped cardigan, and if this photo is not familiar to you by now, then this video is probably not for you. Okay, we have worked on this cardigan, we have finished the back, and we are now talking about the right and left fronts that we'll need to do. So for the right front, we're going to cast on 37 or however many stitches make sense for your size, and then we're going into knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one. So 1 by 1 ribbing for 6 rows. Okay, so ribbing for 6 rows, knit one, purl one, all the way across. And the first question you might have is, how do I know that I've made it to 6 rows? So this ribbing I've already done. I know for a fact that I did 6 rows, but I'll show you how you can look at your fabric to count. Okay, you will not always be counting the stitch that's live on your needle, but in this case we will, and that is going to be number 1. So whatever's on your needle is going to be row 1 of whatever you've completed, and you'll see that this is a horseshoe shape, and we're going to count the number of horseshoe shapes coming out of it underneath. So that's 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now the one underneath it is starting to get a little jumbly, and that is not a row of ribbing, that is actually your cast on. And your bottom ridge is going to look different depending on what cast on you did. I have been showing the knitted cast on, but several people are familiar with the long tail cast on. So for the long tail cast on, your ridges will, your bottom edge will look different, but the counting is the same. You're still looking for these horseshoe shapes, okay? And it is also really kind of hard to keep track of them, especially if you've been a looser knitter. This one, for example, I actually accidentally started with the wrong size of needles, and I kind of just went with it. But that's part of the reason it looks so like excessive down here, okay? And if you're having trouble counting or having trouble seeing, go ahead and pinch the top, pinch the bottom, and pull and stretch, okay? Make those stitches look a little bit more like something you're familiar with, so that it's not a huge pain to start counting. That looks so much neater, makes it much easier visually to count. Again, row 1 up here, and I'm looking for V's. So this would not be a fun one to count because I'd have to like go digging. But this right here, it's got some V's going on underneath. So we're counting each of those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so you can always do it that way. But the absolute guaranteed way, honestly, would be to draw out little boxes. Draw out 6 little boxes and then start checking them off as you do each one. Okay, there's no shame in this. Tools are tools, just go ahead and use them. When you've gotten to your 6 rows of ribbing, we're now ready to start row 7, and row 7 is on the wrong side, and I'm going to knit 1, purl 7, or however many, place a marker, and then it's knit 3, purl 3, knit 3, place a marker, purl to the end. Okay, so let's get that started. Knit 1 and then purl the rest. So knit 1, yarn in front, purling across, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Purled my 7. Okay, purled 7. And putting on a stitch marker. Now, I like to use green as my first stitch marker to tell me to start. That's the pattern start. But I'm also putting on this extra little stitch marker there to remind myself that this is the wrong side of the fabric. This is the back side of the fabric. This is not meant to be visible. This will be towards my body when I wear this cardigan. Okay, so I'm gonna do that one, and now yarn to the back in order to knit 3, purl 3, knit 3. So knit 2, 3, purl 2, 3, knit these last 3, and then place a marker. Placing a marker. Okay, and then it's to purl across. Now, I did not cast on the full 37 stitches for this sample, so this is gonna look, hopefully it's a little faster. But we are now purling, purling, purling. Purl, 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 purl. Okay, Now I'm going to turn the fabric. So now this is the start of row 8, and row 8 is done on the right side of the fabric, okay? Is my finger in for camera? Right side of the fabric. The instructions are to knit to the stitch marker, and then between stitch markers, slip the marker, purl 3, and then this is that chunk with the PSSO, and then purl those last 3, okay? And then move the stitch marker. So let's give that a shot. I am now knitting all the way across to the stitch marker. I am still going to try to knit this super fast because it turns out videos on YouTube have a size limit, or there's only so much time a video can go on for. So now that I'm here, I'm going to move the stitch marker over, and the instructions are purl 3, slip 1 knitwise, then knit the 2, then PSSO, which means pass slipped stitch over. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is purl these 3, purl those 3. Okay, slip 1 knitwise. So slip 1 over means move from this needle to this needle without knitting it. We're not doing anything with this regular yarn, but we want to do it knitwise. So as if we're knitting, moving it over like we're knitting. Okay, knit these next 2, and then pass slipped stitch over. So this is the stitch that we slipped over, and pick it up, PSSO, up, over, and off for both of those stitches that have been on there. Okay, they do look like one stitch sometimes, but go ahead, remember that there's 2. Okay, and this is a decrease. We have dropped from 3 stitches to 2, which means between these stitch markers, okay, and it's purl 3 to finish, but between these stitch markers, we have dropped from 9 stitches to 8 stitches. We will fix that in the next row, but don't freak out. Right now, there will only be 8 stitches. So we purled those last 3, and now move the stitch marker, and now I'm knitting across to get to row 9. All right, row 9, we're back on the wrong side, and for row 9, we're going to knit 1, sorry, I can't see my finger in the camera here. Row 9, knit 1, purl to stitch marker, slip that marker, okay, and between the stitch markers now, it's knit 3, purl 1, yarn over, purl 1, knit the 3, okay? So let's give that a shot. Purling to the stitch marker. I'm now at the stitch marker, so I'm moving that stitch marker over, and then it says to knit the 3. 1, whoops, that was ugly. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, purl 1, yarn over, purl 1. Okay, yarn in front for the purl. So we're going to purl 1. Yarn over means a full wrap around the needle, making sure that the yarn ends in the position that we need for the next stitch. Now this next stitch is a purl stitch. I'm going to have to purl it, which means I need the yarn to end up in front. Okay, so one more time. A yarn over is going over a full wrap around the needle. And now that the yarn is in front, I can do that second purl. Okay, so that was your purl 1, yarn over, purl 1. And I want you to see that the yarn over does create a hole. It will look gappy at the bottom there, okay? We'll see it later. But right now, we're going back to our knit 3, 2, 3. Okay, slip that marker over to finish purling to the end. Now, if you recall, we did drop down 1 stitch before, right? The PSSO meant that we're down to 8 stitches between stitch markers, and that move, that yarn over, is what created the extra stitch between the stitch markers. So we're back up to 9 stitches now. Okay. That was the end of row 9. And now we're starting row 10. Row 10 says knit to the stitch marker, slip the marker, purl 3, knit 3, purl 3, slip the marker again, knit to end. This and this row are the same. Well, not the same, not identical, but very, very similar. Okay, purl 3, knit 3, purl 3. This one's knit 3, purl 3, knit 3. Okay, so they're very similar. We do know how to do these. Let's enjoy the fact that we know what we're doing on this row. Okay, so knitting to the stitch marker. 3, 4, 5, I don't know, I stopped counting. We're making it to the stitch marker. That's what matters here. All right, knit that last one, move the stitch marker over, purl 3, knit 3, purl 3. So yarn in front, purl 2, 3, yarn in back, knit 2. Ooh, that second knit is the yarn over. Let me try that again, okay? We did the purl 3, and now it's the knit 3. So it's knit 1, knit 2. The second stitch that you're knitting is this really long, stretchy thing, and that was from the yarn over. Okay, so we're knitting into the loop that's closest to the needle. So it's knit 1, knit 2, and this is number 3. Yarn back to the front to purl those last 3. And then knitting across, pardon, I think I got a little froggy again over the holidays, which I don't want to get sick again, man. Okay, so we're knitting all the way across. Okay, that completes row 10. Okay, now I want to show you that the pattern has not truly revealed itself yet. We've got this little crossover here, so I know I did row 8, right? I did the second row of the repeat. I did the PSSO, because that's what that looks like. And then I know I knit a few rows past it, but it doesn't have that looped cable look yet, and it's not going to look like the pattern. It's not going to look like this until you've done the repeat at least 2 more times, okay? Because the repeat itself actually just looks like this. It just looks like a little X that you've made on your fabric. So the next repeat of it gives you that second X, and that's the first time you'll see like a good, happy little, you know, cable looking bubble. Okay, so let me just see about doing one more set across. Oh, no, I'm looking at the time. All right, this video cannot be longer than 15 minutes, and I am now at 13 minutes. So I'm going to pause here, and just a quick note, okay? Somebody once asked in class about if you want the V-neck to be not so deep, if you'd like the V-neck to be up closer to the chest. Oops, so sorry, hit the camera. If you'd like this V-neck to not start so low and start a little bit higher, then you can actually probably fudge it a little bit. I had to do some thinking about how to make this possible. But you can probably, when you get to your 13-inch armhole marker, okay, when you do that, you're gonna stop there and look across. And you can start probably you could probably do that another inch or 2 after that side arm stitch marker. You could probably do another inch or 2 before you start your decreases, because I'm looking at the top and I actually had about 2 inches up here of extra knitting. Okay, so we're going to be repeating now rows 7 through 10. Okay, regular pattern now, back to the pattern, 7 through 10 a bunch of times until you get to 12.5 inches from the beginning, ending with a wrong side row. Here. Okay. This is what it looks like when you've just done one repeat. I want to remind you, one repeat will not look like the cable thing, okay? You need at least 2 more repeats before the thing looks correct. But if at the end of row 10, you've got 9 stitches between your stitch markers, and on the right side you look down, you can see this little crossover here, this little X-y bit, then you know you've done it correctly, and you can go back to row 7 and start over from row 7. All right, Merry Christmas, have a wonderful holiday, enjoy the rest of your 2025, you talented, beautiful people. I look forward to meeting you all again in January of 2026. Happy holidays.